Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the MindShare podcast. This show is sponsored by Kits Keep in Touch Systems, a two-time international award-winning marketing suite for sales professionals. REM Real Estate Magazine, Canada's premier monthly magazine for real estate professionals. And the ORCF, the Ontario Realtors Care Foundation, enabling and empowering realtors across Ontario to fundraise in support of shelter-related causes in the communities in which they live and work. You can learn more about all of our sponsors by visiting my site, MindShare101.com. And while you're there, be sure to check out the details of our upcoming MindShare Mastermind happening in Toronto, September 16th to the 18th. I got to tell you, we've got a speaker lineup which is absolutely loaded. This is not your run-of-the-mill, typical real estate conference, the same old lineup you see everywhere. We're going deep on this one. We're going to be bringing you voices that are going to motivate you. They're going to inspire you. They're going to help provoke that creative spark to elevate you to your next level of success. And over the course of 2.5 days, we're going to load you up with actionable value, leaving you wanting more. The discussion, the problem solving, the collaboration, it's going to be powerful. You've been hearing me talk about it. You might have already reserved your spot for it, or maybe you've been considering it. Spots are limited. Don't wait. Book your ticket and tell your closest colleague to book theirs too. Check out the website for details, mindshare101.com. Like I said, this mastermind is going to be powerful. And it's going to be one of those you will thank yourself later moments that you want in life. Today's episode is number 293. He manages hundreds of agents and oversees hundreds of million dollars in real estate volume. His innovative approach to a constantly evolving market makes him a trusted choice for a diverse array of clientele with a variety of real estate needs. He says, earning the trust of my clients is the most important aspect of my work. The clearest sign that I'm doing a good job is the loyalty and referrals I receive from my clients. He's got a deep passion for all aspects of real estate. Having successfully built and flipped numerous properties, he possesses a thorough understanding of home construction, renovation, and design. And he has been consistently ranked among the top 1% of realtors. Joining me on this episode of the MindShare podcast is broker and managing partner at Forest Hill Legacy, Lahav Reznik. Lahav, welcome to the MindShare podcast.
Buddy, thank you. This is awesome. Look, I'm blushing. I'm all red. Like that intro was pretty crazy. I love it.
Buddy, man, you know what, man? I've been I don't even know how many years it's been now. But been watching you take over ever since you started. You guys have been, I mean, you and the crew, Mikey and Stevie as well, my boys over there. Yeah. You guys have been just kicking ass over there, man. It is such an amazing thing to see. And I know you and I, for some reason, just pass each other on the street or at different stores every once in a blue moon and start catching up. And next thing you know, the wives are like, okay, we got to go. We're sitting there just talking. Buddy, I'm excited to have you on the show today, man.
It's awesome. It's been a fun ride so far. And, every different market we hit, it's a new ride each time. So I'm loving it. We're growing. I got some amazing partners, as you mentioned, Mikey and Steve, and I've got Barack and Kathy, and I mean a lot of Freddie's there. We got a lot of people involved in our world, and it's amazing. It's amazing. I'm blessed and I'm grateful, and I thank you again for having me here. I'm excited for this, buddy.
Oh man, I appreciate you making the time today. I'm excited to dig in, and in fact, you just mentioned about the different markets.
Yeah.
And we know sitting here today, it is currently as we record, and so those of you listening to this on iTunes or any of your favorite podcast platforms, as most of you know, we do record live, and we always record sort of the Wednesday prior to when the episode gets released. So it is Wednesday, July the 24th, and we know that the Bank of Canada just made another rate announcement today, which everybody was really anticipating, what's going to happen. And I guess I'd ask you, as we talk about markets and it just being news of the day, what do we feel today's rate announcement is, what kind of impact is going to have on the overall market over these, man, I say 60-ish days, because we know we've got another one coming up in September.
Dude, honestly, in fairness, nobody knows anything.
Fair. Yeah.
We used to be great at predicting markets. We really were. It was initially it was spring market would be hot, summer would slow down, fall would heat up again, and then winter would slow down. It would repeat, and it was very easy, and we were able to predict it. And then markets went crazy. After 08-09's crash in the States, there was a new market here. It started heating up, and then 2017, when it crashed, we knew what was going to happen. We had trends to follow, and then this last adjustment or crash or whatever you want to call it, it's been this is the best way to describe it. It's been a weird market. And you can ask people across the board, that's generally the word that they're using. So where do I see it going? We have no clue. All we need is a little bit of buyer confidence. We need the media to jump in and say, hey, everything's looking great. Go out and buy. Now's the time. And then suddenly there's going to be a rampage.
It's interesting you said a weird market. I was going to ask you, what kind of market do you think we're in? And I've had some people, it's a good market. It's a bad market. Some people said,
yeah,
there's no such thing as a bad market.
There's no such thing as a bad market. Every market is a good market. Every market has its opportunities. Every market has, there's like right now for buyers, it's ideal. You want to buy a condo in Toronto, you've got the pickings. You can negotiate it. You can put conditions in. Like it's a great opportunity. There's no such thing as a bad market. It's just where it's sitting right now. We don't. It's not balanced. I think it's really in the favor of the buyer at this point. Lots of inventory to choose from. They can be picky. They could take their time. Once again, they can put conditions in. They can have an inspection done, see what they're really buying. There were times when we were in a deep seller's market that people were buying stuff sight unseen. It literally happened. There would be a video walkthrough, and then they'd be submitting offers and buying condos in downtown Toronto. So I think we're in the favor of the buyer. That being said, based on trends within the office, number of showings, number of calls coming in, inquiries, deals happening, negotiations going on, it's turning a little bit very slowly to something a little more balanced. That's sort of what we're seeing. Yeah.
So with the rates thing, because we know that from a seller's perspective, it's one thing. From a buyer's perspective, a lot of people have been really sitting on the sidelines, waiting things out to see what's going to happen. And I know that that's a conversation we're having with a lot of our coaching clients, where listings are coming. Are they coming at the pace they were coming at? They're not. But they're coming. We're still seeing a lot of action. People want to get their properties on the market. Many of those people probably thinking their prices are still what they were. But when it comes to the buyers, we're seeing a lot of folks who are, I'm just going to wait. I want to see what's happening. And you just mentioned about specifically the condo market in Toronto and saying, hey, there's opportunity. And I would agree with you 1,000,000%. There's always opportunity. And we know that cliche line of like, what goes up must come down. Well,
Right.
Hey, if it goes down, it's going to go up.
Right.
So what would you say to buyers who are on the fence right now, wanting to, wait out whatever might happen with the rates, let's say even in September? And maybe I'll couple that same question and kind of bring it together and say, not just what would you say to the buyer, but how are we advising our agents? Because I know you manage, hundreds of agents. What would you say to them if they're like, oh man, my buyers, they just want to wait?
Look, the thing to consider is this, and we'll normally get the question similar to this. We'll get the question: should we list in the fall? Should we list in the winter? Should we wait a year? We can only talk about the market that we know. So here's something to consider: the rates are where they are. They're dropping nominally. So quarter point here and there, it does have a slight impact on affordability. There's no question. But consider this: what if the market starts heating up pretty quickly? And you want to wait for the rate to come down so that you can turn around and save yourself over the term of the entire mortgage $20,000 or $30,000. That's what you might want to end up saving by waiting for that half a point difference. Let's just talk hypothetically. Mm-hmm. The time it's going to take you to get to that point, that condo market or the house market, those units might go up by $30,000, $40,000 just based on suddenly a lack of supply, suddenly a little bit more demand. This is basic economics, right? Lots of inventory now. That's great. If some of it starts dropping off or people start buying and pricing is going to start going up, and especially if it's building specific. If you're looking for 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 buildings, which a lot of people do that, they focus on a specific pocket. If the inventory is limited in that area, where in other parts of the GTA, there might be tons of condos. If it's limited, and you're waiting for that rate to drop a little bit more, and you're saying, okay, maybe I'm going to wait till September, October, that price of the condo might go up 20, 30K, which will be more than what you'd be saving by not buying now. So I always talk to the market now. This is what we're dealing with. This is what your monthly rates are. This is, can you afford it? If you can afford it, if it's an investment, what will it rent for? Like, get into it now, right?
But I'm not in a rush. Maybe I'm going to wait till like, September or something.
Absolutely. Come September, what might actually happen is that same condo that you could buy today for 650 might be 675. We can't predict, just like we can't predict what the interest rate's going to be in September, right? So look, the idea is deal with the situation and the moment that you have in time. That's the advice we give to our agents to then share with their buyers. If the buyers are real, they understand this. It's a basic concept. It is legit. You could do the math, talk to any mortgage broker. They'll tell you the same thing.
Listen, I love the spin on it about, how much money you're really looking to save here. That's a similar thing I do, again, as we're talking through, again, with coach clients going through, somebody's getting beat up on commission or whatever. What are you looking to save here? For the 5, 10, 15, 20K you're trying to beat up on commission, it could cost more when it comes to what we might leverage to market the property and the value we might be able to deliver based on the marketing and what we might be able to get as a sale price. What are we truly trying to save here? So I like the spin on that. And I think that, again, for everybody tuned in, really pay attention to that one, right? As people are giving you that, we're talking quarter points here, like a half a point. Money's money. I don't want to downplay that.
Yeah.
There are realities, though, that do come back to say, well, what are you truly saving if you wait? And as you just mentioned, we know that as the rates do come down, there will be more confidence, and therefore prices will start to stabilize a little bit more in terms of, maybe not come down, maybe not get under asking, but get what asking was, right? Like, we're going to see that. We're going to see them climb.
Yeah. Well, look, one thing we're leaving out of the equation is, are the sellers realistic in these situations? So,
okay. And I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah. Look, in the condo market, sellers have become realistic. When you're one of 6 units that are 1+1s in the same building that are for sale and none of them are moving, and one of these 6 or 2 of these 6, they have to sell for whatever reason it might be. They're getting divorced, they're moving out of the city, they bought a bigger home, whatever it might be. Then that forces pricing down a little bit, and then that establishes a new precedent, right? So, right, these sellers have become more realistic when it comes to, at least on the condo market. Housing market, it's a 50-50 because half of the agents out there may not have the skill necessarily to get their clients realistic when it comes to an actual sale price. So they're taking the advice from the clients instead of the reverse, and they're listing high to start, and sometimes it's taking months for them to get realistic. So that's why a lot of people are like, there's tons of inventory, why is it sitting? Well, most of it's because most of the sellers on the housing side are not as realistic as they should be.
So what do you do with a seller like that? Because we're seeing that a lot, right? Sellers come and basically saying, I want this for my house. This is what I want to list at. And you look and say, well, you're not going to get that. It's just, it's not the right price. It's just going to sit.
Look,
how do you handle a seller who does feel that their house should be, listed for more than the comps are saying it should be?
Right. So first of all, we're dealing with personalities. We're dealing with approaches. We're dealing with different people. Sometimes you're dealing with, husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, brothers, sisters, family involved. Like, you're different people, different scenarios. So each case is going to be its own unique case. But consider this, as long as I've established what I feel it's worth based on what we see happening in the marketplace, the same thing I'm looking at. So the same sales and the same comps I'm using, the buyer's going to do the same thing when they come in to see this home. So they're going to use that to establish the property. Yes, it's an amazing home. It has the most incredible kitchen that's fully renovated. The backyard is to die for. It's ravine, all of these aspects. Mm-hmm. But the buyer is still going to base it on the sale. So I'm sharing with them what I feel the actual property is worth, whether I'm giving them a range, whether I'm giving a price, whatever it might be. If the seller needs to, which does happen, see for themselves the reality of our market, we will put it on for a short time at a slightly higher price with the covenant that if we don't see the reaction that we're getting in the first 10 to 12 days, we're not getting offers, we're not getting showings, feedback's negative, whatever it might be, then we're adjusting right away. We're not waiting a month into this, right? If we're getting tons of showings in the field and it's positive and so forth and so on, great. We'll keep it as is, because I don't care what agent it is, in what market, you can never define, in the situation we're in right now, in the market we're in right now, you can't define the true demand that's happening. You can't. One property can have multiple offers, even in our market where we have it from time to time. It could have multiple offers. You put the same townhouse, 2 streets down, up on the market. It's got a little bit different floor plan, and then suddenly there's no buyers for that one. So, we're in a situation where you've got to tell the sellers, this is it. This is what it is. This is how we're basing it on. This is what the buyers are going to do. And I sometimes, we train our agents on kind of flipping it. We'd say to the seller, well, look, what are you guys doing after this? You're buying, right? So once we sell, you're going to go and buy. We're going to go and we're going to look at some homes. You're going to fall in love with this house. It's going to be your 15th house, 20th house, whatever it is. You're going to fall in love. And you're going to be like, I love this house. I want it. Let's put an offer. What's it worth? And what am I going to do? I'm going to come to you with the comparables and I'm going to show you, are you going to pay an extra $200,000 just because the seller's asking for it? Or are you going to pay what it's worth based on the sales?
Smart, man. Smart. So would you take the overpriced listing right now?
I will, if it's reasonably overpriced. If it's crazy, I walk away. Everybody's different. Every agent's different. Every approach is different. Yeah. Reputation is big. And if it's too much and it's too crazy, I will walk away, and I likely end up getting the call after. And again, we train our agents on this. We see it happening where one of my agents will come in and they'll be like, look, I closed the book. I said, this is not for me. You want to price it that goes, they went with somebody else. And then 2 months later, the listing expired and they came back to the agent and they priced it right and then sold it. So that's what we're trying to do, is just getting people to understand, all right, deal with the situation based on it is. Sometimes I will, sometimes I won't.
So two good things. There's a lot of good being shared. Two things that really stuck out to me, though, based on the listing price. One was what you said about the comps. You're showing them comps. They're like, yeah, but I want more. Okay, now let's look at the purchase of another home. Would you pay more? Bang, paradigm shift, like just revelation, right? They're going to sit there and go, no. Say, so why would somebody pay more here?
And it's logical, right? But you got to remember, in the moment, first of all, every seller thinks their house is worth more than it really is.
Oh, for sure they do. But much the same too. If they overprice, it's going to sit too long. Then when they do find the house that they want, one, about the logic around that purchase price or what that price should be, but two, around, well, if you didn't sell, you may not be able to buy that house that you want because you're still sitting on the market.
It gets even better than that. You price it high, sits too long. What ends up happening is, and I could show you time and time again, it ends up selling for less than it would if you priced it right to begin with.
Sure.
Right.
Buddy, this is like when we used to sell our used cars back when we were kids. You'd put it up on like Auto Trader or Kijiji. Somebody would offer you, like, nah, forget it. You'd sit there for 3 weeks meeting 17 other people and end up selling it for less to the 18th guy because you're like, I'm done.
Oh my Lord. Yeah, I can't even, like, it's, look, emotion comes into it. This isn't a straight math equation for people. It's emotion. And I understand. And we've got to take that into consideration when we're dealing with situations. And again, sometimes I will try to put my foot down and it works and we sell and they're happy and ecstatic. And sometimes they just got to see it for themselves. So
fair.
It's part of the process. It really, really is. The key is just making sure that you're using the right comps and that you're pricing it properly to begin with.
Sure. So as we talk about, people sitting on the sidelines as buyers, we talk about sellers who, are wanting more money. We look at the overall economics going on in our world these days. What would you say is sort of one of the main key challenges that you're really hearing from agents right now? Because I know you talk to a ton of agents.
There's a couple of them. The main one is holding the listings. So we have a lot of active agents, top producing agents that, are mainly listing agents, and they go out and they hustle. And, there was a saying back in the day, you list to live. The key is get the listing. That's normally followed up by a buy. So it's generally 2 transactions. These agents that have these listings, they haven't had to truly manage their clients' expectations the way that they need to now. And that's key, because what's happening is these things aren't selling.
Right.
And now these agents are like, what do I do? Like, how nitty gritty do I take this? What do I need to look into? What do I need to change? What can I do differently? How can I market it differently? How can I get this out there in front of as many people possible that will actually work?
What are you telling them?
Look, reality is the days of throwing a sign on the lawn and putting it on MLS, on our MLS system, those days are gone. They've been gone for a while already. And the truth is that a house needs to be sold. If it means that you need to be at every single showing to be able to sell the value of the home in order to point out the things that the other agent is not pointing out, then do that. Then if that's going to make the difference, then do that. And I'm telling you, in many cases, it will. In many cases, those little things, hey, you know what? You can put all this information into a listing. I assure you, half the time the agents aren't even reading listings when they're showing your property. So if you could be there to sell the value of it, that's going to make one difference. Obviously, from a marketing perspective, you're a marketing guru. right? Marketing God in many, many ways. And reality is it needs to get in front of as many people as possible, and not just once, just continually repeating it. The repetition is key. You know, I'll give you another little bit that not a lot of people look at, a little secret.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it sounds silly, but I'm going to tell you it makes a difference.
Okay. Go for it.
Forget about using professional photography. That's a given. We hope that's a given in our world. You know, the photography, the drone work, the video content, all that. Simple things like choosing the right photos to go on MLS. I'm going to tell you that half the time agents aren't even looking at the photos that are being put up. A lot of times the photography companies are doing it for them on their behalf. Sometimes people's assistants are doing it. They're not really taking a close look. Some of these photos, remember, you got 15 seconds. It's like Tinder, which I don't know about, so I'm swiping the wrong way.
I got to say, I mean, I've heard of it. I've never been there.
I use it as an example. I use it because people can relate whether they're on it or not. It's like, do I like him? Do I like him? Do I like him? Yes, no, yes, no. You get that split second with the wrong photo, with the stairs showing the wrong thing, with the kitchen, which is not a small kitchen, but you've got a photo that shows it as a galley. Like you got a straight on shot. I'm trying to get the camera straight here. There.
Yeah, no, it's a great point.
Straight on shot. Like these types of things will make a difference between somebody skipping over your property or saying to their agent or booking directly, like, let's go see it. Right. That's going to make a difference. And in our market right now, we cannot lose those buyers. Because yes, it only takes one, but if you're only getting one and they don't want it, you're not selling the house.
It's a great point. I think everybody really needs to pay attention to that, right? It's like as you're watching, you're looking at those photos. Like when I see the one where they've maybe touched up the sky and the pot lights kind of have that little bit of glow to them, the sky has that little bit of a hue to it. Not for anything. It's going to stop you dead in your tracks for just a quicker moment. You're going to look at it just a little bit longer, right? Versus the one, like you say, I just, as you said it, I pictured a staircase, kind of that round staircase. I pictured, a little bit of broadloom on it and just dark. And just two completely different visuals. The one with the staircase might actually be a nicer home, but the way it was portrayed was very different. Therefore, it's going to attract different people or not attract anybody whatsoever.
Yeah. And that's where you really got to pay attention to the detail. Like, is this going to deter somebody? Like some of these useless hallway photos, like there's no point throwing 6,000 pictures onto MLS because the first 4 or 5 is what's going to get them through, basically.
Right. But love the bigger point to this is be present.
Yeah.
So that you can actually define the value at whatever opportunity you have to do so, be there.
Yeah.
Something that was an old school tactic from back in the day, like way back in the day.
Yeah.
That it, started to change as we all had access to technology and online and everything else. And now we are seeing where a lot of the industry and a lot of the things going on in this industry are coming back to what it's always been as a people business.
Yeah. Look, our training sessions, we've got agents coming into our office. All right. Yep. We're not Zooming them. We want them face-to-face for the same reason that we're encouraging our agents to be face-to-face with the seller, face-to-face when you're dealing with offers. DocuSign, AuthentiSign, all this digital signing software. It's great. It's helpful. It's useful. You're on vacation. You've got to do it. I understand.
Yep.
But when being face-to-face, I guarantee you, it can make a difference with a deal happening or not. And especially if you're able to present on the buying side, which still does happen. If you encourage it enough, you push enough, you're on the buying side, you're representing the buyer, you want to come in and present in person to the seller. I'm telling you, the things you're going to learn sitting across from that seller can make the difference of saving your client 15, 20, 30K or whatever percentage it is. It could be significant. So, I love that old school approach. Let's mix the old school with the new school.
But there's the beauty of what we all have the opportunity to do right now is literally exactly that. Mix the old with the new. What would you say then? Okay. What would you say is the biggest misconception that agents have right now for what it truly takes to succeed when, as a realtor? Would it be the fact that they think it's all technology driven?
No, I think a lot have become realistic. It used to be, some of the brokerages out there that were 100% technology heavy. All right. And I'll use the brokerage as an example. I'll come back to the agent component, but a lot of the brokerages that were 100% technology, and focused, and there was nothing else there. There was no other form of value whatsoever. Agents would jump to that thinking that, especially millennials. And then we get into the younger agents coming into the marketplace. They would jump into that thinking that that's where the market was heading. reality is it's a combination of everything. You need to have the technology. There's no question, right? Same with an agent. You got to be on social. No question about it. You got to be on multiple platforms. You got to be creative. Now it's got to be video content. Like, it's not just about, static posts. That's not going to get people's attention, right? You've got to have a YouTube channel. Maybe you've got to do a podcast, like all of these things. These are the things, but that along with everything else that you did to get you where you were, or if it wasn't you, everything else that older agents did to get to where they were, right? People buy because they like you, right? It's hard to like you when
cliche, but it's so true, right?
Right. Like, look, you and I share a lot of the similar philosophies. We've spoken a lot. We talk about touch points. We talk about reminders. We talk about being top of mind. Like, these are all things that we both train on. But what agents seem to forget is that in order for you to make the money, there is a secret. There is a, I had a training session not long ago where literally, I think the title was Secret to Success in Real Estate. And we probably had, one of the biggest turnouts that we had. This was a little while ago. And we normally do PowerPoints. It's a full written presentation. It's nothing's canned. We get there and I open up the slide, and the first slide, it says the secret to success, right? The secret to becoming a top producing agent. And our training sessions are normally, an hour and a half. I flip to the second slide, and it says, you need to fucking work. I put down the remote.
Wait a second. You all see why this is my boy right here, right?
I walked out of the room and they thought I was coming back. I got in my car and I left. People sat there apparently for about 45 minutes thinking I was coming back. There is no secret. This is the misconception. Nothing will get handed to you. There's no such thing as leads. There's no such thing as free biz. Like, if leads were real, if offices were giving out leads, I would stop running 3 brokerages and I would go work for them. It doesn't happen. You need to generate your own business. You need to have a proper database. You need to have a system in place. You need to work the system. You need to be on people's minds. You need to be selling all the time. That's the reality. You want to make money? That's how you make it.
I absolutely love it. That is gold, man. So okay, I want to step up my game, and I want to get deeper into this marketing conversation with you now, okay?
Sure.
And sort of transition that way, because there are some specifics, and you just labeled off a whole bunch of great stuff, kind of high level. I want to dive deeper into that, and kind of open that part of it up, or this part of it up with, if I want to step up my game, and I want to do more deals right now. Because a lot of people are talking about how they're just not busy enough. And I'm like, well, are you being productive enough? Are you doing the actions that you need to be doing in order to get the actual results that you want to have? The result is having the deal. The action are the things you need to do to get that deal. So, as we talk about that, what do I need to do on a daily basis to have consistent success? And maybe I'd even say it like, what are the non-negotiables that you do in your day?
Yeah.
That really bring the consistency of the success to you?
Look, so here's the thing. You'll ask this question to 15 other broker owners or top producing agents or whatever it might be, and they're going to rhyme off. They're going to rhyme off the door knocking and the cold calling and the networking and the community events. They're going to talk about all these things that you have to do. My issue is most of the people that are coming in, either starting out new or they're in a slump. Okay, they're at the bottom of their sales cycle. They were really, really busy. Now they're at the bottom of the sales cycle. They ask me the same question. I always have to come back to the foundation, and this is generally what's missing. So, without that tight database filled in completely, without a heart to go back to that's going to pump out all this activity and all these actions for you to create. Without that, you can do the door knocking and the cold calling and all of that. It's going to go nowhere. You're going to finally, after 1,000 or 2,000 homes, you're going to finally get that one lead. And you've been out in there in winter in the snow and you're cold and you're miserable and you hate door knocking, but you finally get that one lead. But you got nowhere to work this one lead, because that lead's going to be 6 months to a year out, right? So having that database, having the system in place, and then you got to tackle the database. So the action steps are: get on the phone, whether you're texting them, whether you're using Messenger, whether you're DMing them, whatever it might be. Get on the phone, contact your database, stay in touch with them, That's going to be number one and one of the largest things. I know many top producing agents that make a lot of money just off of their database and just off of staying in contact with them. That's it. They don't door knock. They don't send out postcards. I'm not encouraging that. I love the idea of everything. I love the idea of random touch points. But, a few agents that are specific, they're really, really good at reaching out, creating, some sort of engagement. Then they're setting up a coffee meeting. They're going and they're meeting with these people, and it's turning into business in one form or another, whether they're selling, whether they're asking for the referral, and then the referral's coming 2 months later. You do this enough, and then you add in all these other things that need to get done. You're going to be busy. And then what happens is your sales cycle isn't a big drop. Your sales cycle is, your peaks and valleys are very, very close together. So you never feel that feeling of, what do I do now?
Listen, great point. So how much time are you spending working your CRM every single day?
3 times a week, 2 hours a day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, normally 8:30 till about 9:30, 10:30, depending how busy it gets. I'm constantly, whether it's actually reaching out, texting, calling, again, through social. All right. So I'll do that. But then on top of that, I will take an hour a day that I block off, because the scheduling is key. Like,
beautiful.
Our business planning this year for 2024, which we did in December for our agents, one of the key was blocking off your calendar, right? Because that's a big deal, right? People know they got to go to the gym from 6 o'clock. Their body tells them, they wake up. It's easy to do. If you're not scheduling other things in there, other things are going to take precedent, and you're not going to do what you're supposed to do. So an extra hour a day, I'm on social and I'm engaging. Forget about
so I got to ask you this one then.
Yeah.
What is your take on the idea of time management, in real estate? Would you say it's an excuse to say it can't be done, or it sounds like you, much like me, schedule your days. Or, I mean, do you just get up and go?
No, like I said, so this system, my scheduling, it's been embedded at this point, right? So although what's funny, in my phone, it will still say contact database.
Yep.
It's still blocked off. I'm not going to it. I know that every morning I've got that. If somebody calls me to book something for that time frame, I'm pushing it outside that time frame, right? Unless it's a unique scenario, whatever it might be. 10 o'clock today, I had a second showing at one of my big listings. I was going to be there, so I wasn't making my calls. That's an exception, but I will make the calls later today, so I'll push it, right? So I am structured and scheduled. Is it an excuse to not be that way? There are people who built this way. My eldest daughter, God bless her, she micromanages my wife and I on a daily basis. Yep. She's 20 years old. I've never seen anything like this in my life. Some people are built this way. Some people can be taught. Absolutely. And then there's some people that can never be taught it. They'll make their 60 to 80 to 100K a year. They'll wait for the phone to ring. They'll do okay. And for them, they're happy, and that's all that matters. The ones that really, really want to learn will teach themselves it. So for me, a lot of things.
But imperative, you would say.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Huge.
See, we get that excuse a lot from people, right? Is that it's real estate, so you got to just jump, you got to run when they call. And from what I just heard from you, and I'm again very much the same. I'm structured doing something right now. Just because an opportunity just presented itself, unless it's like, again, the house is burning down kind of thing, we're going to stick to what we're doing. We're going to say no, like not right now. I'm going to get to that there, and then just plug it into where it goes in the schedule, so that you can compartmentalize what it is that you have been accomplishing, how far you've been going, what results are really coming from it. It's got to be done. Otherwise, you are going to drop the ball. You're not going to necessarily make those calls that you're supposed to be making. And then at some point, you're going to get to that bottom of that sales cycle and go, well, why haven't I achieved? Well, have you been doing the actions?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Well, have you been scheduling them? Well, not really. It's been busy. I've got this one client that's really bothering me. One client?
Yeah.
Don't you want more clients?
I love how, especially with producing agents, because they will feel it the most. I love how they've got these really crazy sales cycles where they've got really high peaks. In a 2-month period, they're going to do 150 or 200,000 GCI, like completely busy, like crazy. And then for another 2 months, they're doing absolutely nothing. And the reason why is they forgot to keep doing what they did to get them to the point of being crazy busy. All of the, you know, the foundation, the system, making the calls, knocking on the doors, whatever it might be. They were too busy to keep doing that, and that took them away from you know, being able to have a not as bad a cycle. That's the issue. Listen, it's not a bad problem to have, right? You 2 months on, 2 months off, 2 months on, 2 months off. But I'll tell you, they'd feel a lot better. They'd be a lot healthier. I'd feel a lot better because they wouldn't be coming in almost crying every time with me. But you know, they just got to be consistent. That's like one of the big key words is the consistency is important.
Look, you know, you mentioned the word foundation before. And I mean, this is like in our coaching program, this is one of the things we work on often with our coaching clients, even the groups that we train, is very much about creating that foundation, creating that system and that process so that you know exactly what you need to be doing, when it's supposed to be done. And you've got a way to actually look back and say, hey, I did it. Recognize the accomplishment, recognize that, again, the action was completed. And therefore, you will have the consistent results. And it's all about building out those proper habits to do so. You know, now today we're talking very much about how to create your legacy in real estate, and this is a very much a continuation of the exact same teachings. I mean, things that you're telling your agents, things that I'm sharing with my coaching clients, things that we're talking about today. It's very much around that, right? How do we grow? How do we build more success? How do we build more consistency in the business? Now, we've brought up phone calls, we've brought up social. If you could only do one of them, make phone calls or post on social media, which one would you choose and why?
See, so I wouldn't choose, bro. Like, again,
okay.
Like, look, this turns all it does is turn into an excuse.
Okay.
We talked about excuses, right?
Yep.
There's no reason why you can't do it all. There is no reason.
Dude, and you're I mean, you know me. I agree with you completely on that.
Look, let's just talk real. Like, we understand people are busy, life's busy. They've got kids, they got, you know, people can manage time a little bit better than others. I understand all of it. I really, really do. You find a way to prioritize certain things. And you know what? You don't make 20 calls. You don't make 30 calls in the day. You make 5.
Mm-hmm.
Make a few calls.
Yep.
Check them off your list. All right. You don't have time to do 50 videos in a week. Do 3 or 4. At least get into a pattern, get into a system. And then you're going to find as time goes on, it's going to be easier and quicker. People aren't making the calls because they're afraid to. People aren't being,
because they don't know what to say. What would you be saying to somebody and not sound so salesy?
Look, if I'm reaching out to people, I'm just reaching out to check in on them, and
Yep.
it's a genuine thing. Even when it comes to social, if I'm engaging with somebody, I post somebody comments on it, I'm engaging just to be me, right? And I'm genuine in my approach. I'm just like, hey man, just checking in, see what's going on. Everything good? It's been a while since we've spoken. You know, they'll look, hey, everything's great. I saw you got this podcast. I saw you sold this one. Yeah. Enough about me. Tell me a little bit more. How are the kids? Are they in camp? Like, but it's genuine, because you know what? I'm rarely bringing up real estate, because the concept is I actually give a shit, number one. And most people do, but most people are too afraid. They don't want to be salesmen. They don't want to be like, hey, do you want to list your house?
Yep.
Do you want to buy an investment property? Like, there's no need for that. If you're top of mind, and part of it being is this interaction along with everything. If you're top of mind, when they are ready for that, they will reach out to you. They'll at least give you an opportunity. You may not be the go-to, but they'll at least give you an opportunity. And then if you screw up the opportunity, that's a whole other training session.
Well, here okay. So off the top, where is it? He says, earning the trust of my clients is the most important aspect of my work. The clearest sign that I'm doing a good job is the loyalty and referrals I receive from my clients. Would you say that, I mean, I guess expanding on that, from a establishing trust factor, would your mechanism to be doing that be connecting with people through the phone calls, through the social, and just making good conversation about what's going on in their world versus sales?
You know this.
Yep.
Okay. Any sales 101. We're in MindShare 101. So let's talk sales 101 for 1 second. You get in front of somebody who doesn't know you at all. That's the hardest one, because your friends, your relatives, your circle, it's a little easier. But you get in front of somebody who doesn't know you, there's this big brick wall up, huge wall, massive wall. And you got to chip away at that wall a little bit at a time, right? So the trust doesn't necessarily get built while that wall is being chipped down. Like, that's just you're finding commonality, you're having multiple meetings, multiple phone calls, you're spending time looking at properties together. And as that goes on, the more and more that you share with them about real estate based information, whether it's, sharing with them that you're walking through a place and you're letting them know, hey, listen, the grading on this property is not quite what it needs to be. You're likely going to have to deal with this when we get the inspection done. The inspector is going to probably tell you that, educating them on parts of real estate, letting them know that as a first-time buyer, there's an RSP opportunity for them. They can put money in and take it out. It's like a forced savings. Like educating them, having them understand that you know what you're talking about, that will build the trust. Right now, great. This is what we, at the end of the day, what we want to do. We want a business that's not only built on new business, but built on referrals. The key that most agents miss out on, that we train on, is asking for the business, right? It's asking your circle. And especially when you've had successes, and especially in the moment of success, ask them for future business. Hey, now that you're happy with what I'm doing, if you know anybody looking to buy or sell, like send them my way. I will take care of them just like I did you. That's canned. That's not necessarily the way that I'm going to position it. I've actually turned to people and say, bro, now you fucking owe me two referrals. Do it. Right. I have this one former client who's become a friend over the years. He gives me 5 or 6 referrals. When I don't hear from him, I'm calling him up and I'm saying, where's the biz, man? Where's the biz? He's like, oh, I'm telling you, Dave, 2 days later, suddenly somebody's calling me. So
but you've built that rapport with people, and that's the key. You can't just do that to random people. It's got to be people you build trust with. You've called them, you've talked to them about their vacations, their families. You've done that for years.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And listen, even new business that does come through, when you're done the deal and it's closed and they've moved in there, the relationship doesn't end. I like my clients, most of them, almost all of them, high percentage of them. I like my clients. All right. So my relationships continue. I'll tell you, many of my clients have become close friends,
right? Which
is a testament to, hey, this is what you need to do in the industry, right? You need to be able to embrace it. I'm an extrovert, if you can't tell. Not many people, not everybody is. So sometimes it's a little more difficult, right? The relationship ends and they just don't know what to do or say. Well,
right.
You know what? Your client just renovated the entire house. Reach out to them. Hey, I'm going to be in the area next week, Thursday, Friday, 6 o'clock, going to your neighbor's place. I want to pop by. I got a little something for you. I'm dying to see the renovation. Simple. You get there, you walk through the renovation, and when you leave, you remind them, hey, if you know anybody looking for some great condo investments, right now is the time to buy. So send them my way.
Right? Would you say that is one of the most effective ways to prospect for new business, is to actually build stronger relationship with the people you already know?
Absolutely. Look, most realtors across the world work off referrals. If people don't love you and don't trust you, they're not going to refer you. And so you're not going to be able to get business unless you've built that trust, you've built the relationship. It's funny. People in our door knocking training session, I talk to them about, why are you knocking on the door? That's the question. I start the training session with that. Why are you knocking on the door? Right. And, some will give me the basics, to tell them about a property that's sold in the area. I'm like, but what's your goal? What is the goal in here? And they'll say, to get the listing. And I said, that's your first mistake. That's your first mistake. If you're going in there to get the listing, it's never going to happen. You need to go in there to build a relationship. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line.
Get them to know you exist.
And that's it. Like people can tell that slimy salesperson very, very quickly. Right. And you know what? You're going to make mistakes and you're going to knock on the door and you're going to say the wrong things. Just learn from it. But just keep knocking on the doors. No excuses. No excuses. Right. Keep going there. But you go in there to build a relationship, because it's going to take time for people to fall in love with you. And that's the bottom line.
It's so true, man. So would you say, which would you say has more value? And I'm going to go down the road and say, I already know your answer here. I think you've already shared it with us. An online lead, or meeting somebody new through an open house or even a door knock?
First of all, face-to-face. So right off the bat, my answer with that. But more so, the online leads, you'll never have the opportunity to truly get across what you're trying to get across. These leads come across as just, they're not even lukewarm. They're barely, it's still cold temperature. You're calling them up. They're like wondering, where did you get my number? Why are you calling me? They filled out a form, and those are the types of leads that are out there. A person coming to an open house is like you going to Costco. Last time you went to Costco, I think I ran into you outside of Costco last time.
Was it? Right? It was Costco or Best Buy or something.
Use Best Buy. Like you're going in there with a purpose.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not driving all the way to a Costco unless you're going to actually buy something. These people coming to the open houses, even if they're nosy neighbors, which is what we get a lot of, which is fine, but they're coming in there with a purpose. Nosy neighbors are coming in to see what the house is. How does it compare to those? Hey, what a better opportunity to interview for them based on how you react, how you talk to them, the information you provide, your knowledge of the area, your knowledge of the house. You're in an interview and you don't even realize it. So nosy neighbors are one, and then buyers coming in, you know what? They're going to look for a place, whether they're buying now or 3 months or 6 months. If you've got the foundation set up, you've got the CRM tight, you put them into it, you're going to have a drip campaign, you're going to be sending them letters, you're going to be doing handwritten cards, you're going to be sending them holiday cards, you're going to go knock on their door, you're going to give them phone calls, you're going to add them to social, like all these reminders. I can go on and on and on, bro.
Yeah.
All of these reminders.
You're preaching, man. You're preaching. I love it.
I know, and I love that about you, and I love that about your program. I love it about your system. But all of these reminders, when that person comes into the open house, you will end up with a deal more often than not. So the leads for me, they're it's a waste of time, personally.
I couldn't agree more. Here's another one we've seen over the years. I want to grow my brand. I want to create something that people are familiar with. And again, we're talking about, building this legacy. What would you tell me to do? What kind of ideas can you suggest? Here, do I need to be on the back of a bus to grow?
Oh man, reality is you got to start from scratch. So the basics, you got to have, I'm going to keep coming back to, you got to have the CRM, you got to have the website.
Right.
They got to be able to find you. Okay. Because you get that one opportunity, like we talked about in the winter, where you get that one door that opens and they let you in and you give them your card. They're going to Google you. All right. So you got to have the website. You got to have the Google reviews at least started or up. You got to have Google Business for yourself already set up. A presence is key, but the bus by itself is useless. Okay. The bench, I got tons of benches. Great. They're useless by themselves. Right. You'll go to many offices, other offices, they'll sit down in front of the manager and they'll say, I want to prospect. I want to get new business. Manager's going to say, pick a farm area and send out postcards. All right. Mm-hmm. Your $500 to $600 a month that you're going to be spending by itself is useless. Mm-hmm. All right. All of these individual things, you do them on their own, they're useless. In fairness, if all you're going to do is social media by itself, it's useless. I can go on. You get the point I'm getting now. You do everything all together. That's going to make the difference. Because if everywhere they turn and they see the open house sign, they see for sale sign, they see you on the bus, they see you on the bench, they see you on social media, they're getting your postcards in the mail, you're writing them handwritten letters because you knock on the doors. Like all of these things together will keep you top of mind. You're going to get the opportunity. I'm telling you, I've seen it happen. So
are you telling me that if I'm on social media, if I'm the most popular agent on social media, does it matter how many followers I have? Does it matter about all that stuff?
So look, again, 20, 30, 40,000 followers, haven't done a deal. I'm not going to get into this. That's an off podcast conversation. I'd love to have it. There's people with hundreds of thousands of followers that don't do a single deal. So no, but let's flip it for a second. So now let's say you did everything properly and you got into, you're doing everything I just talked about. And now you're inside at a listing presentation with a seller. Okay. And now you're talking about how you're different from other agents. You're talking about how you can bring value to them. Right. And these are all key things that you talk about before you even talk commission, because you got to present the value before you say, hey, this is what you're going to pay me. So now you turn to them, you're like, I can do this and this and this. And guess what, Mr. Seller? I have a 200,000 person following on Instagram. And what's amazing about that is it's going to get your house in front of way more people than any other agent out there. All right. So there is value to it when it's part of the system. By itself, could a $200,000 agent eventually use that and mainly that to skyrocket them? Maybe if there's a TV show added to it, possibly. But on its own, it would take a long time. It would be a lot harder.
Yeah. Okay. So here, let's do this then. Let's boil these down and say overall, the channels that we feel most effective. and maybe I'll just say it that way and say fill in the blanks. I would say, and this is again something that we're always teaching around the 7 ways to communicate with people. You've got the in-person, the phone calls, the text, you got the direct mail, the email, you got social, and you got your websites. And as you've been talking about the entire time, and we like to talk about building MindShare, it is about leveraging all those different channels to do that. It is about being consistent across those channels. Out of those channels, would it be fair to say that we've come out of that today and said, your in-person channel, your face-to-face channel, that phone call channel are probably your top 2 that you could be leveraging to grow your business in real estate?
Yeah, the phone call, and in fairness, some people don't want the call, so let's use phone call, text message,
Okay.
direct message, instant message, whatever you want to do. That communication is a great one. The face-to-face door knocking is key, very important. All right, we preach that as part of our world and part of our system.
Yeah.
Okay, and then social media done right can make a big difference, because keep in mind, they're texting with you over, so they're not really having communication with you over the phone. If you're talking to them, it could be a little bit better, but not everybody likes to talk. Like I said, in person door knocking, great. They're going to see you face to face. You have an opportunity, but on social, these video content is key. When people can see and hear you speak, you talk about credibility, right? Imagine somebody who has no credibility. You suddenly start talking the talk, knowing what you're talking about, sounding like you're knowing what you're talking about, even if it's just talking about the interest rate hikes, something simple that most people understand, like having an opinion, like as long as it's educated and accurate, that will give you credibility. That's going to make a difference. So social is key, but done right. Static posts aren't going to do it for you. It's not going to do it for you.
Get out there, get people to see you, hear you.
Yep. Absolutely. This is who I am. This is what I'm doing. Hey, I'm at this property. Hey, I'm at this property. Hey, just about to do an inspection. Yeah. Hey, I just sold this place. Like you're going to find the best speakers, the best comedians. Let's use that. People that are excellent in their field. They do it by telling stories.
Yeah.
So when you're on social and you're in these videos, tell the story. Tell the story. Right. I had one not long ago, a property in Mill Pond in Richmond Hill, and I was installing the sign, and then I was done. My car was in the driveway, and a lady came up to me, and she's like, "What are you doing on the driveway? You don't live here." And she was like acting as security, and I had to say to her, "Look, I'm the same face on the sign." She goes, "No, you're not," because I didn't. My beard is not on the sign. So she started arguing with me. So I had to open my phone and show her, "Hey, look, this is me without the beard." She's like, "Okay, but you still have to move." I'm like, I'm moving, but like that interaction, those stories,
they're funny.
It's great, and people love it.
So here we're talking about, share with people who you are, share with people what you do. We've talked a lot about today again, how to build, and create your legacy in real estate, and you've shared some amazing stuff, Lahav. In saying that, you also are the managing partner. You are a broker with Forest Hill Legacy.
Yeah.
I want to take a moment here. How does your brokerage, Forest Hill Legacy, help agents create their legacy in real estate? Because you got a great head on your shoulders. Again, I know Mikey, I know Steve, hard workers, smart boys. You guys all been grinding real hard for a long time. I remember when you guys came up with this idea to start this thing, and it is so wicked to watch a bunch of buddies actually take off and do what you guys have been doing and just watch the successes. And I congratulate all of you guys and everybody that's involved in it over there. But I want to just take a moment here, share with us, the value there. What are you guys doing to help your agents? And a lot of what you shared today is obviously what that is.
Yeah, look, the difference is the same way that we treat our clients. Mike and Steve, both successful realtors. We do a lot of volume. The same approach that we take with our clients, it translates into dealing with our agencies. So we're very different in that we're very involved, and ultimately that will make a difference. We've got an incredible community. Our office atmosphere, it's really like family oriented, if you will. Agents are helping each other out. Agents are not hiding things. Agents are doing showings for each other. It's a very, very tight knit group. We're very selective on who we bring on. We will not bring on anybody. I have no interest in growing to, 1,000 agents. I like to know every agent's name, the deals that they're working on, the deals that they just did. I like to congratulate them on the deals that we've had agents that have said, that they're surprised we even know their names compared, being at other offices. So us being very involved is key. The training, so you see what you get. All right. It's practical. It's real life. This is the reality. But the best part is we do a lot of one-on-one. So any given day, any given hour, 2 hours, so whatever you need, we are walking through all of these processes with our agents. You want to role play based on door knocking? Let's do it. You want to do a podcast together because you don't know how to do it? Let's do it. You want me to show you how to post on Instagram? I'll do it. I'll do whatever you need. Their success is our success. That's the key. And the way we're structured, if they don't make a penny, we don't make a penny. It's very simple. So it's in our best interest when that phone rings at 1 o'clock in the morning, which, David, it does, by the way. When that phone rings at 1 in the morning, we're answering it because we know if it's going to make a difference between them getting the deal or not getting the deal, I want them to get the deal. Momentum kicks in. They got another deal and another deal. And that's why our retention rate is at like 98, 99%. It's a little ridiculous. We love our agents. We're very, we've got our baseball tournaments that we run. We run a 3-on-3 basketball tournament in my backyard. We do food trucks, our holiday party. The spouses are invited to the holiday party. You don't get that at every office. Like little things like that. It makes everybody want to come in the office and it makes everybody feel at home. So look, the truth is, until you're in the moment, you're never going to realize it. Once you are, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about.
Well, I know you guys. I know the crew over there. I know what you guys have been building. The growth has been absolutely amazing, but I love the fact that it's filtered growth. It is not just let's just take everybody we possibly can. And look, firsthand, when I'm around any one of you guys, I can see the love and due care that you put into that business, not just your own business, but into your agents. So there's definitely a tremendous amount of value. And, you being like me, we shoot from the hip. So we say it straight. We say what it is. But the realities are, on saying that's where a lot of people get the true help. There's no sugarcoating, right? There's no bullshit. And if you really truly want to grow, you want to be around the right people, right?
Yeah. You've got to have the support, the mentorship, the coaching, if you will. It all has to be there as part and parcel. And we love what we do. That's when we opened the office. I mean, when we opened the office, we were 900 square feet.
I remember, bro. I remember, dude, we're expanding. We're going to take over the place next door. I'm like, all right, let's go.
My physical office that I'm in right now was our former boardroom. And our approach was this: if we get no agents, it's okay. We've got this spot, the same expense that we had at our other offices. We'll cover this and we're good. And then it was crazy. We had 35 agents before we had 35 agents virtually, and half of them working out of Starbucks with me, producing agents, by the way, of which almost all of them are still with us, as a side note. But we had them before we even had a physical address to tie them to, which was incredible. So look, we love what we do. We're there to support. We're there to help. That's going to make a difference in somebody's world of business. Right. So
here you've done it all. You've gone through your day. You've been productive. You've connected with people. You've built a ton of MindShare. You've obviously supported and continued to grow not only yourself but your office, the agents within it. You come home at the end of the day. It's time to shut it down. How do you know it's been a successful day for you?
How do I know it's been a successful day for me?
Yeah.
I'm coming home happy.
Ooh, I like that.
Which for me is the most important thing.
Yep.
I've learned over years to be able to focus on the things that I can control and let go of the things that I can't. So I'm lucky. It's very hard to do. We try training and coaching people on that as well. A successful day for me is, I'm coming home happy. My wife's happy. My girls are happy. Honestly, that's all I can ever ask for. The rest of it is a bunch of bullshit, buddy. In fairness,
I love it.
I love what I do. I haven't worked a day in my life. That's the way I feel. but if I'm not happy when I come home, or my family's not happy, there's no success in anything.
I continue to ask that question at the end of every show, and everybody who's tuned in. And first of all, I do want to say thank you to everybody who's tuned in. I don't know if I took an opportunity to say that to you guys today. The MindShare podcast was actually just rated number 8 on iTunes this past week. Number 8. Yeah. I mean, just it's humbling. I am grateful. I love the fact that we built an audience. We've got people that believe in the show and tune into the show, and amazing guests like yourselves. Lahav, I've asked that question hundreds of times. And
293.
There's not a soul that uses the word money when I ask that question. Nobody answers with how much money they did today, how many deals they did today. And it's just, it's an amazing thing, because as you sit back and you think, we're all getting up every day, we want to make more money. We're going to work to make money. You just even said you haven't worked a day in your life because you just love what you do. And I tell you very much the same. I love what I do. I love helping people. I love having the platform. I love being able to do this. You know, when you look back on it, you go, what was it all about? Well, did I help people today? Am I happy? Do I get to spend time with my family?
Yeah.
Dude, where can people find you, man?
Lahav_Reznik. Instagram's my favorite, to be honest with you. I'm easily found. That's probably the best way. Lahav, LAHAV_Reznik, REZ or ZNIK, depending if you're from the States or Canada. So find me there, add me. Let's have some fun. Let's chat.
Let's do it, man. Tell me, just any final words of wisdom you want to share to help everybody get out there, build some mind share to get more market share.
Yeah, you know what? Life is short. Embrace it. Make every day amazing, and live it to the fullest. That's if anything, that's what I've got to share, buddy.
I love it, bro. Lahav, thank you, brother. This has been it's been a fantastic episode. Like I said, shooting from the hip, talking my language, 100%. Tons and tons of value today. I hope everybody tuned in, took a whole bunch of notes, and if you didn't, as soon as we're done, go ahead and hit restart and listen to it one more time. Lahav, thank you, brother.
Peace out, brother. Love you.
Take care, bro. You are either listening to this to one of your, well, you're listening on one of your favorite podcast platforms. Maybe you went to my website, MindShare101.com. Hey, don't forget to leave a review of the podcast at ratethispodcast.com/MindShare101. Again, like I said, we hit number 8 on iTunes because of you. I am so super grateful. You know, we every so often there's always that as Lahav was just saying, with the, you know, the sales cycles, the ups and the downs, and especially with podcast ratings, it does the same. You know, sometimes you're in the top 100 and sometimes you're in the top 10. And the reality is, we love what we do. We love having this platform. We love the fact that you continue to tune in, and we love the fact that we're able to be here to help you. And so if, again, you were finding the help and you were finding the value, I do ask you, ratethispodcast.com/MindShare101. Take a quick moment right now, head on over there. Leave us a nice review. We love seeing the good stuff. We love hearing the feedback. I always tell people, you know, love hearing the good stuff, the good, the bad, and the ugly. If you, or the bad and the ugly, if you got that, just email it. Don't leave that as a review, because, you know, that doesn't do well for us. But no, seriously speaking, I thank you sincerely. If we haven't yet, connect with me on Facebook at MindShare101, on TikTok at MindShare101, and of course on Instagram, my favorite platform as well, at David Greenspan 101. Need and want to take a very quick moment right now to say a big thank you to Kids Keep in Touch Systems, REM Magazine, and the ORCF, the Ontario Realtors Care Foundation, for sponsoring this episode. This has been another episode of the MindShare podcast. Thank you for tuning in.